Endurance is the name of the game here in Daytona as the world centre of racing welcomes these 600 horsepower supercars for a double-header weekend. Teams and drivers will battle heat, humidity and attrition, trying to clinch the 100 points in play over 2 rounds. It's risk versus reward in Daytona. This is Red Bull Global Rallycross. Welcome to round 2 of the Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship for 2015. The first round was at Fort Lauderdale just 3 weekends ago, a little bit further down the A1A, where we saw Ken Block winning and getting maximum points for the very first time of asking. He was the runner-up last year. What can he do in 2015? He finished ahead of Scott Speed, an all-new Volkswagen Beetle for 2015. Speed is looking to get even quicker throughout the season. Last year's champion from Finland, Joni, he had problems with his back and he was unable to score big points last time out. He's got a lot of work to do from here on in. But the revelation of this weekend here at Daytona has been Jeff Ward aboard his Ford Fiesta. He's 54 years old on Monday. He's never driven one of these cars before and he is flying. My name is Toby Moody. Alongside me is Townsend Bell. Townsend, this is a racetrack that we are both looking forward to see some great racing on.
This is so different, Toby, than what we had at Fort Lauderdale. That track was very tight. Point and squirt, force your way through. This place is fast. It's all about finesse and technique. But working against these drivers is this temperature. It is hot. And it's a sticky, swampy Florida hot. It puts a demand on the tires, the cars, the engines, and especially the drivers.
Now this is how the weekend is going to pan out. What we've got is a series of 2 semi-final races. The top 3 will then advance to the final. The last chance qualifier, the top 4 will advance to the final, so therefore there'll be 10 cars over an 8-lap final to get those maximum points. And throughout the race, the drivers must take at least once the Cobalt Tools Joker lap once in the race. This is how the course looks.
Well, Toby, let's go around here. You can see that the circuit uses a lot of the sports car 24-hour Daytona track, and it all starts there on the black starting grid as they launch hard off the line into turn 1, a nice flowing 180. Then you go onto the dirt. You've got 2 dirt hairpins, turn 2 and turn 3. Very tricky to not overcook the entry speed. Then we hit the tabletop jump. It's a beautiful jump this race. And then you go into 4-5. I think that's the trickiest part of the course. Very easy to carry too much speed and blow turn 5. Then back onto the asphalt through 7, 8, and 9. There's the penalty box off to driver's left. You've got to do it stop and go if you do something like jump the start. And then you come back across start finish to complete the lap. About a minute to do a lap around here. And of course, the Cobalt Tools Joker lap is that yellow section. You get 1 chance to do that per race.
Now we're looking forward to seeing the cars on the racetrack, but Kristen is down in the paddock with the latest.
Patrick, you've had a little bit of misfortune already this season. Now you're sitting in pole position, heading into the semifinal. Is it enough to bounce back and get much needed points?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've been fast all season, and this is a track that was one of my favorite tracks last year. It's really fast, but it's also very technical on the dirt, and you need to be very precise all the time and find a good rhythm. But I feel I have a good feeling here, and we've been fast the whole weekend so far, so hopefully we can make it into the main, still in pole. That's my goal right now.
Back up to you guys.
Now let's have a look at the current point standing. Ken Block leading on 59 points ahead of Scott Speed. Nelson Piquet Jr., he's in 3rd position. Sebastian Eriksson, new in the big class for this year. He's in 4th ahead of Tanner Faust, Austin Dine, Arpin. Gonzalez Jr., he's not here this weekend. Isaacson and Lassick with their Subarus got a lot of work to do here in Daytona ahead of Sandell and Joni Wiemann. Now then, let's catch up with Will on just how hot it is here at Daytona. Will.
Hey Toby, yeah, it is a scorcher today in Daytona. 93 degrees out, and on top of that we've got very, very high humidity. I was chatting to some of the crew. They've actually put thermometers into the cars, and we're getting temperatures of 140 degrees in there. These guys are going to have to employ all sorts of tactics to stay cool in this doubleheader. We've got cooling suits going on. They're putting their helmets in cooler packs, and some of them have even got ventilation going on. Very, very important if they need to stay focused in order to win these races. Toby.
They've got to keep cool in more ways than one as we lined up with our royal purple grid. Patrick Sandell on the left-hand side with Scott Speed in the middle. Tanner Faust with his VW Beetle on the right-hand side.
And going back to row 2, we see a Chip Ganassi entry with Steve Arpin and Jeff Ward. Bucky Lasek is not going to make the starting grid today. The Subarus continuing to have some issues with their new cars, but these two guys have the potential to charge to the front.
So it's a did not start for Lasek. That's big news for Subaru. But let's keep an eye out and see how Jeff Ward gets on with his Ford Fiesta. On board with Tanner Faust. He must be roasting in there.
Oh yeah, it is 140 degrees. You can cook an egg inside that cockpit right now. He just can't wait for the lights to go on so we get a little air flowing through that Volkswagen Beetle cockpit. Here we go.
Okay then, so Sandell with the white fronts to the Ford Fiesta on the left-hand side. We wait for the reds to go out, and then we go green! Now, on the left-hand side, Sandell's got to take the Joker lap, which he does immediately together with Jeff Ward. But look at the two Volkswagen Beetles, and he's pushed Tanner Faust wide. Scott Speed has got the advantage there in third position, but leading is going to be Sandell from Ward.
And look at Ward, has got his nose inside Sandell already. Ward has been hugely impressive on the dirt. He is trying every bit of different line all the way around this course. Just a pro motocross, guys. We're on board with Tanner Faust as they go up and over the jump. Tanner trying to keep pace with Scott Speed, who has really set the tone for that Andretti team so far.
Now then, at the front, it's still Patrick Sandell leading with that new for 2015 Ford Fiesta. He has yet to take the Cobalt Tools Joker lap at the moment, but we come back on board with one of my favorite pieces of this racetrack. We're building speed to 125, maybe even 130 miles an hour there with Tanner Faust, who then those two Beetles take the Joker.
You see Speed and Faust take the Joker. It shaves off a good couple of seconds, but Sandell comes back out in front of Speed, but look at Jeff Ward, and Tanner Faust gets into the back of Ward. And Ward is not going to like getting a rub from that Rockstar driver. And look at him go to the inside now. Tanner's going to try to force his way through.
Now this is the crucial position, Townsend, because it's the top three who will automatically advance to the final later. So Jeff Ward, he's in that third position at the moment. What a debut from Jeff Ward. He's driven everything but a rallycross car until I think yesterday, the day before, and here he is. He's ahead of Tanner Faust. Incredible.
If you are 40 or above like me and you're hanging on to glory days gone by, stand up and salute Jeff Ward. He's done a heck of a job. At the top of your screen, you can see that only Steve Arpin has yet to take that Cobalt Tools Joker lap.
So it's even Stevens. Everybody's taken the Joker with the first three places as we come back on board with the Volkswagen Beetle run by Andretti Rallycross. Tanner Faust at the wheel. Look at those wheels scrabbling for grip as they get onto dirt. You can see it's a bit darker here because they've watered it down just before this race.
Yeah, and look at Jeff Ward. He's sliding a little bit wide. You have to be so careful on the dirt to not overcook the entries of those 180s. If you get out on the soft, loamy stuff, it really kills your lap time. You can lose a full second, one corner. Back on board with Tanner Faust, working hard on the asphalt, 4 laps to go. And of course, Faust sitting in that 4th position. He needs to get past Ward to advance straight through to the final. He does not want to have to go to the LCQ. It's going to chew up his car even more.
And look at them as they dance through that quick left and right series of corners as we come with Tanner Faust. Is that a little bit of understeer now, a little bit of oversteer? Not quite, as he goes up another couple of gears and then hard down the gearbox again as he puts all the weight onto that outside front wheel, and now he's on the dirt. And Ward is driving like the wind.
He is, and look at him. Allowed Faust to close up the gap. And here they're going to short shift. They're going to grab 4th gear a little early to try to help the traction, give them as much launch as they can off the ramp. Steve Arpin running in 5th, but again, he still has not taken the Joker lap yet.
So there's a bit of a card literally up his sleeve as we focus on this transfer spot The green flashes on the top of the Ford Fiesta. That's Jeff Ward, he's in third. Then the yellow Beetle, Tanner Faust, as they rush past our camera. Brilliant shot there. Don't forget, Patrick Sandell still leads this race ahead of Scott Speed. There in the distance, the Ford Fiesta, the Beetle, then again the Ford Fiesta and the Beetle, as we go hard on the brakes into the hairpin. You got to get the turning done on the tarmac before the dirt.
You're right. You want to rotate the car as much as you can on the tarmac. Get one squirt before you hit the dirt. And this is fascinating. We've got a Ford-Volkswagen battle going in sequence. It's really interesting to watch the competitive differences between the two brakes. Between the two brands, excuse me, as we're 2 laps to go approaching the white flag.
Back onto the tarmac. Who has the leap? Who has the jump away from that corner? Again, it's Jeff Ward staying ahead of Tanner Faust. Tanner Faust will not be happy. He'll be feeling the heat in more ways than one now inside the cockpit of that car. 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Scorching conditions, and as you said, Townsend, he could be baking an egg, but he won't be baking a cake to celebrate, will he?
Well, he's following a guy. Wow, as Scott Speed pulls off to the right-hand side with some kind of mechanical issue. That put Jeff Ward into second. Tanner Faust is now third, and Steve Arpin is now fighting for a transfer spot.
So, drama. There have been all sorts of problems with the VW Beetle this weekend. Scott Speedy had an engine change after practice yesterday, Townsend. I wonder if some gremlins have crept into the front end of that Beetle. That's bad luck for Speed, though, fresh off his X Games gold medal. So, Faust is in third. He will be able to transfer. Sandell safe and sound in the lead, but Jeff Ward soon, in just a couple of corners' time, to guarantee himself a place in the final.
And Jeff Ward has to be careful. Slid a little wide again there on the asphalt as that Beetle continues to hound him with 1 corner to go. Let's see what happens. I promise you, Tanner will be doing everything he can to pass. Even though he'll transfer, he wants a preferred start position in that final. But no, Jeff Ward will hold on for P2.
Sandell takes the victory ahead of P2 for Ward. Tanner Faust in third position with that VW Beetle. Not so much joy for his teammate Scott Speed. He's already out of the car and his arms are folded, and Scott Speed is not happy at all. Look at that. Oh dear, oh dear. And for a racing driver to go out so early in proceedings, it just eats you from the inside.
Well, especially when it's this hot. He's got to stand there and wait for the tow truck to bring him in. But once again, Patrick Sandell has set the pace all weekend. Takes a pretty trouble-free win there. And of course, Ward and Faust transfer on.
Steve Arpin, Scott Speed, will he get that car mended for the LCQ? That'll happen later. Bucky Lasik, let's see if his Subaru's going to be okay. NASCAR returns to NBC July 4th weekend, live from Daytona with the Sprint Cup Series Coke Zero 400, powered by Coca-Cola. It all begins July 4th with the Xfinity Series Subway Firecracker 250 on NBC SN. We now look forward to our next semi-final. What can Ken Block do, our current championship leader? Under the searing sunshine here at Daytona Beach in Florida, we've had the first of our semi-finals for this, the second round of the Global Rallycross Championship, and it's not good at all for Scott Speed. One of the fastest drivers in GRC at the moment has had his car break on him. Therefore, it has been Patrick Sandell, Jeff Ward, Tanner Faust who have advanced automatically to the final. So as the car gets towed away, Kristen is down there with Scott Speed. What's he got to say?
Yes, definitely, Toby. Not the start Scott was hoping for. Scott, what happened?
I don't know. It's been an unlucky weekend. Something broke, obviously, which is a shame because I think we're finally getting some laps out there this weekend. But yeah, so hopefully we can fix it in time for the last chance qualifier and get ourselves some points this weekend. Just unlucky week.
Do you know what exactly broke on the car?
No one knows yet. We'll see here shortly.
Back up to you guys.
Well, those Andretti Rallycross guys have had a very busy 24 hours. They did a complete engine change yesterday afternoon. Can they thrash it and get that thing sorted for the LCQ? That's the big question.
Well, you know, it's a continued development year for the Beetle. They introduced the car last year. It's fast, but you got to be reliable to make it to the end as we go to the starting grid. And up front, Ken Block has really set the pace along with Patrick Sandell in one of those M Sport Fords. You've got Johnny Weeman starting outside and then Austin Dine in another M Sport car.
Continuing on with our royal purple grid, we got Sebastian Eriksson on the left-hand side, Nelson Piquet Jr. in the middle, and Sverre Isaksson, the Norwegian, on the right-hand side with that, again, another new car for 2015. It is the Subaru, but it's Ken Block who's on the pole position, and Ken Block, who really does look like the man who's got his sights on the 2015 Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship. He finished so close last year, only 5 points behind Joni Wiemann. Wiemann is in this race. Wait for the green, we go! He releases the Hoonigan handbrake, and it's going to be Ken Block who takes the joker for the first time. In the meantime, it's 3-3, Austin Dine chasing the Subaru. Drama and action. Nelson Piquet Jr. trying to push Eriksson out of the way, not once, but twice, and all they're doing is holding themselves up.
Well, Nelson Piquet forcing the bumper on the back of Eriksson, who couldn't make the turn with that contact and that continued push from Piquet. Look at Austin Dine now working up the inside of Wiemann.
But look at the Subaru of Isaksson. Oh, there's been a problem for Eriksson. He got pushed over to the left-hand side. I wonder if there's something broken with the suspension or something from when he had contact with Piquet.
Totally possible. As we're on board with Eriksson, he got all crossed up over the jump, and everybody was so anxious to get to Ken Block. They did not want Ken Block to get a clean start, and he is gone right now. Huge gap.
That is an enormous lead of about 20 car lengths. Isaksson scrubbing the speed off with the Subaru. He's in third position at the moment. We're riding on board with Austin Dine with his Ford Fiesta as we charge down to that hairpin where we saw all the drama a lap ago.
And Dine has got to get past Isaksson quickly here, because the Subarus have struggled for outright pace all weekend, and Dine can ill afford to lose time to P1 and P2 if he's going to have a chance to make the transfer here.
Riding on board with Dine through the dust, over the jump they go, hard on the brakes now on the dirt. Behind Dine we have Joni Wiemann. Wiemann unable to race in the opening weekend of the year 3 weeks ago at Fort Lauderdale. A problem with his back. He had terrible luck at the very first time of asking at X Games in Austin, and he's got the most amount of work to do to try and have any chance of this year's championship.
And here goes the joker lap for Joni Wiemann. He is up the inside, and I'll bet he'll come out ahead, but he might have to block going to the hairpin. He comes out in third.
So that's a great maneuver by the Oldsberg's MSC driver. The Finn has done well, and there's been drama.
Dine gets into the back of Sverre Isaksson and turns him into the tires. Heavy contact for the Subaru, but he continues.
He does. The door is completely stoved in on the right-hand side. Look at it. But the roll cage will have saved that door from going any further into the car. I remind you that Ken Block continues to lead this race. He is away with it ahead of Piquet Jr. and Wiemann. Here we have Austin Dine. There's a little bit of damage on the front, and there is a change of position. Wiemann going past Piquet Jr. Has Piquet Jr. got a problem? Because that's a really strange place to lose a position.
It really is. You've got to think that maybe there's a handling imbalance or something has caused Piquet to lose quite a bit of pace as Wiemann just blows by to take second. Meanwhile, with all of this action, Ken Block's in a different zip code. He's halfway to Miami.
He's 6 seconds ahead, nearly 7 seconds ahead as Piquet. You rather fancy he's limping this one home, and you don't see a mistake like that very often from Nelson Piquet Jr. He's that good. He doesn't make mistakes.
That's the third time, though, that that's happened this weekend. It's like he's got a turbo lag issue. Now he's completely stopped, and Isaksson's going to go past Piquet.
It's as if when it drops off the cam, there is no engine there for him. There's no revs at all. So this is going to be a tremendous battle to see who is going to be able to transfer, who is going to be able to get third position.
And Piquet goes wide as Austin Dine now moves into fourth. So Austin Dine's got 3 laps to get 1 more position. He's going to try to track down Isaksson.
There is third position. That is Isaksson. Then we've got Austin Dine with the yellow Ford Fiesta. Piquet Jr. in 5th, still struggling on the brakes into this hairpin right-hander at the International Horseshoe at Daytona. So third at the moment is in the hands of Sverre Isaksson.
And 2 laps to go. Austin Dine looks to have a quicker pace than Isaksson. What's going to happen, Toby, when he gets close enough based on the previous incident just a few laps ago?
Here we ride on board with Austin Dine, trying to get the 650 horsepower down through those Yokohama tires, but they're slick tires, and you have to say, it's amazing how much forward motion they can get on that damp dirt with slick tires. He's getting closer.
He's getting very close. Like I said, he's got the pace up, and he's a second quicker per lap, but he has to be patient here. He cannot have the kind of contact as he blows past these extended take the transfer spot. I think he's just going to have a problem. Left rear, I believe, or maybe it's the right rear.
No, he's limping. It doesn't sound as if he's changing gear. He's not revving very high. They had all sorts of technical problems yesterday with Subaru. As he's got one more lap to go, will he be able to get back up into third? No, not a chance. Block leads at the moment from Veman, from Austin Dine. Now it's down to PK. Can he close in on that third position with the remaining half a lap? A lot of work to do.
That's a big gap to make up. Right now, Austin Dine has clean air and smooth sailing to the finish line. Half a lap to hold on to that transfer position.
Second year in the supercar class for Austin Dine. He's doing so well, but you got to take your hat off to Ken Block, winner in Fort Lauderdale, winning here the semi-final, guaranteeing himself a place in the final here at Daytona. What a way to start his slate here this weekend. Second is Joni Veman, and Austin Dine gets third position, so he will advance to the 8-lap final, where there is a chance of 50 points on the table up for grabs. That will give him an enormous amount of confidence as he goes back towards the garage. But Ken Block, ever cool, I'm sure will have a little wry smile underneath that crash helmet.
And he should be smiling, because his car, that M Sport built car, just like Sandell and Austin Dine, that is the measuring stick today.
Ken Block winning ahead of Joni Veman, ahead of Austin Dine. Those are your three in yellow. Who will advance? PK Jr. He's going to go to the LCQ together with Isaacson, together with Sebastian Eriksson, who didn't have an opportunity to even complete the first lap. Here is Eriksson's car. It's back in the paddock, in the pits. And if those boys know anything, they know how to get a car all sorted. Likewise, the Volkswagen Andretti Rallycross guys are working on Tanner Faust's car. Patrick Sandell has advanced to the final, together with Jeff Ward. Driver of the weekend so far is Jeff Ward, ahead of Tanner Faust. And in the second semi-final, Ken Block, Joni Veman and Austin Dine have guaranteed their positions in the final, which will be made up of 8 laps. But somebody who'll be in the LCQ is Nelson Piquet Jr., and Kristen has got him.
Yes, I have him right here. Nelson, obviously something happened out there to your car. You lost steam out there. What exactly is going on with your car right now?
We're trying to fix it, obviously, for the last chance qualifiers. Yeah, we were running second in semi, and a lot of beat and banging in the first 2-3 corners. I don't know who hit us in the back, and obviously it damaged the exhaust pipe. And these cars obviously are very finely tuned to be working, you know, with a perfect exhaust pipe and everything. And once it got bent and got cracked, we lost maybe at least 100 horsepower or more, you know. And obviously that made a big difference. We started losing ground, and I couldn't keep it up. You know, I wasn't going to block everybody, you know, having a damaged car. So I let Austin by, and yeah, but we did what we could, you know. Now we have to try to fix the car for the last chance qualifier. Our SH Rallycross car, hydroxy cut was strong, but you know, it's Rallycross, you know. We're always going to get into these situations. We just need to fix it quickly and go to the next race.
All right, and Will is with Sebastian Eriksson. Will?
Yes, I am, Christina. Somebody else, obviously, who's going to have to rely on the LCQ here to get through. Sebastian, we saw some contact there in turn 2 and 3. Tell us what happened.
I had a really good start there. I followed Ken into the Joker, came out second, and then into turn 2 I had a bad hit from behind, and the same happened in turn 3, and then the rear tow bar broke. But we need to fix it now, and I'll be back for the LCQ.
You've got a good team behind you working your way now. Do you think you're going to get it done in time?
Yeah, I think so. It will be in perfect condition for the LCQ.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Guys, back to you.
He had a slight smile on his face there, because he knows that that car is in very safe hands. If those guys can't mend a rally car in this kind of time, then, well, I'll be very, very surprised. In the meantime, they are thrashing away down there in the pits. Here's what's needed to win with Cobalt Tools for success.
To be successful here at Daytona, I honestly think the biggest thing is going to be getting off the line good. And then from that point on, this is a long, fast racetrack, probably one of the fastest, longest tracks we're going to be on all year. And it is going to do a toll on our Yokohama tires with the high speeds. So I think getting off the line good and then managing your tires to make sure you're going to be fast at the end is going to be the secret.
I think a good place to pass on this track is on the Cobalt Tools Jockey Lap, because I think it's maybe a 2-second difference between the normal track and the Joker. So I think that's a key point.
Obviously it's really hot, so we need to stay hydrated, and if you get too hot you will lose the concentration, and by that you can lose the race.
The keys to be successful here at Daytona, to be very defensive on the dirt, to be smooth on the exit, to get a good run.
It's a great track this year. They got rid of some of the slower sections of the track from last year, so it's got a lot better flow. So I think the battles are going to be a lot closer, and you're just going to have to try to keep your car clean.
All right, and I'm here with Jeff Ward, Motorsports Hall of Famer. Jeff, you have done it all. Now you're trying your hand at GRC, and you're already heading to the final. What is the quick key to getting out in the final already?
Oh, I don't know, just stayed out of trouble. I have to do the car real well. I mean, I've done a lot of road racing here and a lot of dirt for sure. So the Team Ganassi, Chip Ganassi Racing Team has an awesome car, great crew people. Sponsor 360 Fly all came together, and this is a lot of fun, and I'm really excited that I'm able to get to the main event and hopefully challenge for a podium. I mean, that's my goal.
You were hot out there yesterday flying. How is it out there?
It's good. It's a little bit slicker today. The dirt's a little better because of the rain we got yesterday, so it's a little bit more challenging because of the little more grip and a little muddier. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't done a main event before, so I'll see how scrappy everybody gets on that first lap.
Well, the LCQ is about to start. Toby, take it away.
Let's have a look at our royal purple grid for the LCQ. Nelson Piquet Jr. on the inside line with Steve Arpin in the middle of the front row. Sebastian Eriksson, his Ford Fiesta, recently repaired a completely new left corner. Underway. They got into the first corner, and it was Arpin and Piquet Jr. who immediately took the Joker, even though Arpin went right around the outside. He was then leading from Piquet Jr., but Piquet Jr. then had a problem, and only after one lap of 4 pulled immediately back into the paddock. That then left Arpin leading with Eriksson on his tail, but Eriksson still had the Cobalt Tools Joker lap to take. He did it on the very last corner to win the LCQ and to advance to the final with Arpin. The question is now whether or not Nelson Piquet Jr. will get the car fixed and have a chance to take up his 9th position on the grid for the final. But the front of it will see Sandell ahead of Ward, ahead of Faust, then Block, Veman, Dine, Eriksson, Arpin and Piquet Jr. We now look forward to our final. Who will be the second winner of Red Bull Global Rallycross in 2015? Welcome back here to Daytona. We are not at the beach. We are down inland a few miles at the Daytona International Speedway. The beach has had its own history over the years with a land speed record, but we're going to have a few more records here with our final. Will Christian is down there on the grid. What's the atmosphere like?
It's fantastic, Toby. Obviously here we've got round 1 supercar final here at Red Bull Global Rallycross, and a very interesting grid with a few surprises. Of course, no surprise seeing Ken Block and Patrick Sandell there. Patrick Sandell in 1, Ken Block in 2, and Joni Weeman, of course, in 3. But who's this in position 4? Newcomer Jeff Ward. Not bad for your first GRC appearance. A surprise absence, though, here in Scott Speed in his VW Beetle. We were expecting him, Toby, really to excel here in Daytona, given all of his experience on tarmac.
Yeah, but they had the engine out of that VW Beetle. They've had all sorts of trouble this weekend, which is really surprising considering all the bigwigs from Volkswagen Motorsport are really behind that effort. Here is the royal purple grid on the pole position. It's Patrick Sandell, Ken Block in the middle, who does not recognise that car. Well, you haven't been on the internet recently. And on the outside, it is Joni Weeman. Onto row 2.
Well, those are the 3 big dogs up front, but then going back, Jeff Ward turns 54 years old. on Monday, and he has been giving it to these young guns. Austin Dine starting next to him, and Tanner Faust did not even do a practice start. They're doing everything they can to let that Volkswagen get through this final round.
On to the third row, we have got the Swede, Sebastian Eriksson, his first full year in the supercars. Alongside him is Arpin, and at the back is Nelson Piquet Jr. But on board with the man in the middle of the front row, it is Ken Block, the man leading the championship at the moment, making sure that it is in gear. And there is the Hoonigan handbrake, the lever of fever that he is holding as we get ready for Daytona Red Bull Global Rallycross. We're underway! Brilliant start by Sandell. Block had to go for the Cobalt Tools Joker option immediately. So it's going to be Sandell who leads. No, look at Block. He's had a really good run. Oh, my goodness me. They've had a big crash. And Jeff Ward is going to lead as he goes through into... No, and he gets hit. There is drama already. And it is carnage, and it's going to be Tanner Faust who leads, and Ken Block's car is stricken on the outside of the course and he's going again. I have never seen drama like that in the first few corners ever. Faust leads from Dine, from then the two Olsberg's cars. Unbelievable.
What an unreal battle for position on the first lap. They knew that the start was everything. They wanted to lead, but they couldn't figure it out between the two of them. And now Tanner Faust, on a weekend where Volkswagen has had all kinds of issues, is pulling away in a Beetle.
Joni Weeman has had real trouble. That car is crabbing as he takes the Joker. So does the leader, and he comes back out in the lead. It's Tanner Faust. We are riding on board with a second place man. This is Austin Dine going into the corner where we saw Block stricken only a lap ago. I remind you that Block is in the race. He's just at the top left of your screen there. He's missing the rear bumper, but amazingly, everything else on that car is okay.
Wow, and we're on board with Eriksson. Just ran over a huge piece of debris left over from that earlier contact with Block and Sandell. Now these two teammates, both young, both experienced, both winners, and they faced each other before in the GRC light season in 2013. And they're fighting for the podium, but in front of them, it's Austin Dine, and I can tell there's some crabbing going on there with Weeman's car. Clearly some sort of contact. That right rear is incredibly towed in. Look at it. Yeah. It is. That's a good 10 degrees of right rear toe in. He's driving a forklift, Toby.
So he's got to turn left to go in a straight line.
Well, he's going to have a really hard time turning right for sure. I mean, turning left, because that right rear is driving the back of the car in all kinds of action as Steve Arpin now has worked his way up to the bumper of Eriksson, and look who's come back. That's Patrick Sandell.
What a fight back by Sandell, the former junior world rally champion from Sweden. There he is in the grey and white Ford Fiesta, the Cobalt Tools car, and he is revving. Look at him come back onto the tarmac. We've got a long way to go in this race. I wish it would go even further, because it's fantastic action that we're seeing here as they come onto the home straight at a speed of over 125 miles an hour.
Sandell should be furious about that contact early on. He knows that he was the car to beat. I spoke to Brian Herta, his team owner. This would be the first win for Brian Herta Rally Sport. I said, Brian, what'd you tell Sandell? He said, you have the fastest car, don't screw up. And he's going to fight back through to demonstrate why he's a former champion. He got the wrong gear there in the dirt. It looks like he has the pace, but he's got to figure out a way to get by.
Okay, we're on board with Eriksson. This is fourth position, chasing his crabbing teammate, the car slewing sideways. But Weeman needs the points. Eriksson needs the points as well. He's currently fourth in the championship after the first race in Fort Lauderdale.
Now, important here is that Eriksson has not taken the Joker lap yet, so we should see Eriksson make the move, running that Cobalt Tools shorter Joker lap. Let's see if he takes it here. No, stays on course. He wants to be a little closer to Weeman before he elects the shortcut. Looking back at Steve Arpin. Steve Arpin is Jeff Ward's teammate at Chip Ganassi Racing. As we watch Weeman, unbelievable his ability to adjust to just an uncanny amount of right rear toe that's been put into that car via contact. Austin Dine working to stay in second. Huge opportunity for that young American driver on board right now with Dine. He's got clean track in front of him. If he can just stay consistent here, he could be looking at a very good second place finish. And now I think Sandell has pulled off the track. Sandell's in trouble. Heartbreak for Patrick Sandell.
What does Patrick Sandell have to do in 2015 to score any points at all? It's not going his way. Again, not taking the joker is Sebastian Eriksson. He's closing in on third in front of him and Austin Dunn in second. You know what, Townsend? I think I'm thinking what you're thinking is he could get those two in one bite with the joker lap.
About 2 seconds when you take that joker lap, and you're absolutely right. Eriksson could make the magic move and jump to second place in one corner.
He's got to keep on the tail of the Ford Fiesta in front of him. Two very different specifications of Ford Fiesta in front of him, though. Austin Dine just coming through your shot there.
Oh, no.
And Ken Block, has he got a puncture?
Well, he should have something for the amount of contact that he went through with both the tire barrier and Sandell. Right rear tire now down. Now, we've seen this before. If you remember back a couple of years ago, I believe it was in the Mini Cooper, a driver surviving to finish to the final round.
That was X Games in Munich. Liam Doran taking a gold medal with only 3 wheels on his car. So if anybody can do it, Block knows how to do it as we cross the line. 2 more laps to go. We're still on board with the 4th place man, Eriksson, but he's yet to take the Cobalt Tools Joker lap, and that should leap him up into second place. Austin Dine in front of us, the man in the lead, and gone is Tanner Faust, who must be laughing his head off. He's got such a lead.
Well, and I don't think Tanner Faust would have expected this kind of final round with all of the struggles they've had this weekend, to see both Block and Sandell go out of the race in the first corner. Unbelievable luck, unbelievable good luck now for Tanner Faust in that Volkswagen group. I've got to say, a spectacular job by Johnny Wieman to not only hang in there, but really close the gap to Austin Dine. Eriksson has to take the joker here, I would think, on the last lap. He did that in the semifinal to great effect, and he's saving the best for last.
The rear end of that Wieman kart still hanging on. The tire will be scrubbing away. The heat going through that Yokohama will be immense as it goes down that straight before he handbrakes it onto the dirt. Faust jumps, then Austin Dine is about to jump and does, through the carnage that was left after the first lap. Utter carnage. I've never seen anything like it before, and incredibly everybody got going again. That was even more amazing. Now we come back on to the surface here, and then making our run out of here, second gear, building all the way up to 6th gear, 125, maybe even 130 miles an hour.
There
Here we
goes
go.
Tanner Faust. Here comes Austin Dine. Now what can Eriksson do with the joker?
Here he comes into the right-hander. He's got the tighter line. He doesn't look as committed as Summers gone round there. Tanner Faust wins in Daytona. Second position is going to go to a photo finish, and we believe it's Dine who gets the second position. Eriksson was just behind him by a couple of hundredths of a second, but Tanner Faust now makes it a tally in his global rallycross career of 5 victories in the GRC. Tanner Faust and Volkswagen back on winning form. Look at him celebrate inside that car. What a great run. But what happened to Ken Block?
Well, what
after
happened
a stellar start?
The right rear tire completely gone. He's just on the wheel, survives to take the finish, but he's got to be disappointed. I mean, between him and Sandell, they were the ones to beat. Huge relief for this guy, though. Tanner Faust back where he's used to being, at the top step in victory lane.
As he goes to victory lane, let's have a quick look at what happened. Look at this. Faust and Block came together. They got tied together. They drove into each other. Block got airborne. He then hit the tires from another angle, completely smashed it out of the way. Ward had nowhere to go but to handbrake it, and then he lost the speed. Sandell had to pay to get back in. He went so far out. And then Block eventually got going again. In the meantime, Tanner Faust, and this is the photo finish for second position.
Wow.
Wow, look at that for Austin Dine. He will be over the moon with how well he drove that last corner.
Terrific finish for both drivers. Unbelievable Eriksson to gain that much distance on the Joker lap. And with Austin Dine, his best ever Red Bull GRC finish, his first time on the podium in the final. But Tanner Faust is getting psyched. He's realizing, I just won in Daytona after such a tough weekend.
And for Volkswagen, they are winning again. Look at this. Tanner Faust victorious ahead of Austin Dine by literally inches ahead of third place man Sebastian Eriksson. Weeman off the podium in fourth ahead of Arpin. Ward, what a great round of applause he received as he crossed the line as a rookie to be ahead of PK Jr. and Ken Block. But Daytona has been all about Tanner Faust this weekend. Tanner Faust has come out on top here at Daytona, the first of our doubleheader, and that is how a rock star celebrates. My goodness me. They have caught the Phoenix out of the flames, haven't they, Volkswagen, this weekend? Tanner Faust takes his 5th Global Rallycross victory ahead of Austin Dine, first time on the podium. Sebastian Eriksson, what a great result for the young Swede. Joni Weeman, the reigning champion, there in fourth ahead of Arpin. Jeff Ward, we thought he might have had a chance of winning it after that second corner melee ahead of Nelson Piquet Jr., Ken Block, who did get caught up in the melee, and Patrick Sandell, who did not score. So then, Kristen is down there with a winner. She is with Tanner.
All right, we're here with your champion in round 2 at Daytona. Tanner, with all of the issues that Volkswagen had this weekend, did you even expect to win this race?
Oh my God, I feel lucky that we actually got in the race. I mean, it was such a brutal weekend for the team. I mean, they've had this car apart and together like 3 or 4 times, and we just have one bad batch of, 25-cent screws that are causing a pretty gnarly weekend. So unbelievably exciting. This little Beetle's a little bit crooked now, but also a little bit better lucky than good with that huge crash in the first corner. Hopefully everybody's okay, but yeah!
You're the 2-time Red Bull GRC champion. You win again here in Daytona. What's it like to be back on top?
It hasn't been, last year wasn't the prettiest year, and you have to be really consistent. The competition is so much different this year. The cars are all so fast out in the field. Everybody's up their game. So to win here, it really is something special.
Definitely is something special. Toby.
And he signs the autograph. Well, that's the winner's check, more like. Yeah, he didn't have a good year last year. He only had 1 podium. And here we are at the second race, and he's got to win. Now, let's have a look at this opening lap crash between Sandell and Ken Block. That was a biggie.
Well, first lap, Toby, and both guys are just fighting for that inside line heading at turn 2. And unfortunately for Jeff Ward, he had contact as now we're on board. Oh! Massive hit to the right rear with Ken Block, and unfortunately for Ward, he had contact, but Will's down there with Ken Block.
Ken, another memorable final, but for all the wrong reasons for you. We saw you get a slightly slower start than Patrick, and then you chased him down, and then we saw carnage out of turn 2.
Yeah, I feel like I just got a bad start, but I stuck to him going around that inside Joker lap and was able to get a good run on him up to the hairpin, and for some reason he just didn't leave me any room, which, I was trying to stay out of the grass, and he kind of shoved me into the grass, and once I was there, I just had no grip, so I went spinning into the tires down at the end, which is just really disappointing. It's racing, but we're trying to battle for a championship. We would have been better off if he had just given me room and we, battled it on the track. Instead, he left me no room, and we ended up, all spinning out. So really unfortunate is what it is, but I talked to him before and said, let's play nice, and I ended up with position on him, and he should have left me some room there, and he just didn't.
Now, there's a lot of damage to the car. We saw you dragging your bumper around, which eventually came off, and then you came in on 3 tires. How did you manage to finish that race?
Yeah, well, it's all about points. I lost the championship last year by 5 points. I'm not giving up any points this year if I can help it. So I drove the wheels off it to the absolute end, and I ended up with a puncture. So the fastest part of the most dangerous part of the track, I was sliding out of control here on the fast straightaway. But it is what it is. Like I said, I was hoping I could potentially catch PK, and if anything happened to anybody else, I could gain more points. So I was just trying to get, to the end with the best position I possibly could.
Thank you, Cam. We'll see you at the next race. Guys.
And those points are very important. He got 15 points today. as Patrick Sandell has come to apologise. Ooh, tense moments down there in the paddock.
Well, they're clearly still pretty friendly with each other.
Let's
see what they say.
I was like starting to pulling into the corner, like kind of easy, but and then obviously you were there, and then she just started.
It is what it is. I know you probably didn't necessarily do it on purpose.
No, you know.
I just had no room. So.
If you had done this, maybe done it on purpose, but definitely. If I would have known that like you were there, then.
So Patrick Sandell blaming his spotter, but man, I sure would have thought he would have known he was there. They were rubbing on each other all the way down the straightaway. Nice to see him smiling. On we go.
We're friends.
And Patrick Sandell really is one of the nice gentlemen in the paddock, but when the visor goes down and they're going up the gears, then that's another kettle of fish. So let's have a look at the championship after 2 races.
Tanner Faust. I mean, your championship leader now. He struggled a bit down in Fort Lauderdale, and we have certainly documented all of Volkswagen's struggles so far this weekend, but he comes away your points leader. And how about Austin Diner's first podium finish, and now he's moved into the top 4.
Austin Dine down there with Will.
And Austin Dine reaches the podium for the first time in the series. Austin, you come from traditional tarmac background. What was it like to get the win out here in the World Center of Racing?
It was awesome just to do it in Daytona. It's been 3 years since the lights, and last year my first year in Supercar, and finally be on the podium, just awesome. I couldn't be here without Brian Herta. He made a dream team possible, and we're building every weekend stronger and stronger. And just have to thank Castrol and Cobalt Tools, and just been an awesome weekend. This is like probably our first weekend that everything's kind of gone in place, and it's definitely showing. I mean, obviously what happened in front of us happened, but I'll take it because I've been taken out before. So
take it indeed. Toby.
So Austin Dine gets on the podium for the very first time. Sebastian Eriksson gets 3rd position, but the winner for the first of our Daytona double headers here in Florida has been Tanner Faust, and we've got more of action that you've just seen again next.